Well, hello. I think I'm live. I just don't know if anyone else is here or not. Oh, someone's here. This is working. A little nervous because I didn't know if this is going to work. Can you hear me? Is it? Hey, but now, hey, sound and video working. I take it. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, my fear was I'm going to press live and there's absolutely nobody, nobody there. So that's cool. Um, I'll wait a minute or so, see if people are still entering the room. Stephen, Addie, hi. I was hoping, yeah, people that come on, rather than lurk, just announce yourself, say hello, and if you want to, say where you're from. I think that's cool. It gives a kind of an interesting dimension to these little chats. If you say where you're from, I see we got Wyoming, Las Vegas. That's cool stuff. Uh, hello, everyone. Stephen Addy, Gay Priator in Wyoming. How you doing? Bid now. Hey, how you doing, man? Um, Cindy Brown. Hey, good to see you. Tall Happy Colors is here. Wow, amazing. My carnivore friend from Germany. Good to see you, Tall Happy Colors. Juliet, Cindy. Hey, we got a little crowd going on here. Yeah, midnight. It's late for you in Germany. Uh, I'm glad you could make it though. This is something. Well, I would plan just to talk, interact in the chat box and say hello and answer questions. I think probably we don't have so many questions already, but I think I'll go ahead since there's a fair amount of people on hand. I'm just going to talk. I got a topic that I wanted to talk about, which is a question I wanted to answer, which gets asked a lot of me, and that is with regard to um, what is my topic? Fasting and what breaks a fast. Because I talk a lot about fasting, and and let me back up. Let me just say a little bit. Okay, my channel is all about my last 2.5 years that I spent transforming myself through a change in diet and a change in meal frequency. If you're not familiar with my whole story, you can review it. I've got all the details on my channel here. But yeah, I don't look anything like I used to after I changed diet and changed meal frequency. And when I say meal frequency, I'm specifically talking about fasting. So a lot of people come on and they say, can I have cream in my coffee? Can I do this? Can I do that? And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about fasting because that kind of answers a lot of questions. Um, so fasting is essentially just not eating. So, okay, as soon as you stop eating, you sort of are entering into a fasting state. And all of us at night end up fasting. Um, we fast for whatever, 10 hours, 12 hours while we're sleeping. And then we wake up. And for many of us, we start eating almost right away. And so we're not really fasting fully until you've reached like a 12-hour mark, because from what I read, from reading Dr. Fung's book and others, there's a transition that occurs somewhere around 12 hours. And the whole point of going into fasting is to kind of shift your metabolic processes. Um, and the shift is to go from one state to another. And when I talk about shifting metabolic processes, um, our bodies generally regulate the metabolism with a couple of ways by using hormones and what you might call counterbalancing hormones. And it's really quite exquisite if you look into it. It uses two hormones specifically for metabolism one is called insulin, which you hear a lot about, but it's counteracted by another hormone called glucagon. And these work together. They're always sort of, trying to balance things out, trying to reach a stasis, depending on what you're doing, what you're eating, and so forth. They're working in tandem. And so specifically, what is happening, what kind of metabolism is going on in your body depends on which hormone is dominant, insulin or glucagon. And if insulin is the dominant hormone that's currently active in your system, then you're in a state, I believe the term is called an anabolic state. It's a state where you're storing energy, you're building. It's a growing state. It's where you're putting together things and storing them, storing energy into muscles and in your heart and organs, and specifically also storing excess energy into fat cells. So when insulin dominates, you're in a storage type metabolism. So what happens after a while is that after you've not eaten for a while, and you'll stay in that state depending on what you've eaten, depending on how active insulin has to be to do all this storage. If you've eaten a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar and whatnot, this may take a while. But after a while, after 12 hours has passed in the morning, that job is sort of done, and it's ready to possibly, if you don't eat anything else, you're going to go into another mode. And that's when maybe insulin takes a back seat and glucagon takes over, and it becomes the dominant hormone. And once you're in this state, this is something called a catabolic state. And this is the opposite of insulin. This is a state where you are basically breaking down. You're not storing anymore. You're taking out of storage. You might need energy taken from the fat cells. You might need to break down molecules and rebuild and things like that. It's a totally different metabolism. And the reason when we want to lose weight that we want to keep insulin low and we want to fast is to get into this state, this catabolic state, where we're breaking down and using fat and burning our own fat, our fat reserves, because we have too much fat hanging around and we want to get rid of it. And the whole reason for doing that is because frankly, we just tend to, most people in this country especially, we eat too often, and we're eating so often that we're never burning our own fat. And so we're kind of out of balance. We're out of sync. We spend too much time storing fat and not enough time burning fat. So what I found after I read the obesity code is that we need to level the playing field a little bit. We need to spend more time burning and breaking down and using our fat reserves and learning how to go without eating all the time. So this is a learning process, and it's what if you got a lot of weight to lose, you first have to learn how to fast, learn how to go without food. And for some, it's easy. For others, it's hard. So how do you fast? You just stop eating, okay? And it maybe as the hours go by, and certainly as the days go by, it becomes more of a challenge. Some people can't last a few hours. Others can do 4, 5, 6, 10 hours, or maybe one day. But the problem is, if you're new to being in this state of low insulin and having to burn your own fat for fuel, it's going to feel unnatural, and your body's going to resist and fight and say, hey, give me some of that some of that other fuel, that quick burning fuel that we use all the time, which is glucose. And because we like that, it's easy. But you want to stay out of that because you, like I said, you're trying to rebalance. Uh, so this is why we try to fast, and we have to not eat and allow our body to do its job. And so once you not eat, what else can you do though? I mean, can you drink? Okay, yes, you can drink. You can drink water. You can drink coffee. You can drink tea. Then when you start talking about coffee. Well, can you? Most people, myself included, like to put cream in a coffee. So everybody wants to know, can I have cream in my coffee? Does that break my fast? And just that term, I wanted to talk about the whole reason I put up this topic is this term break the fast. I think people need to not be afraid about breaking the fast, especially in the beginning and when you're not used to it. Just don't worry about breaking it. Just worry about eating as little as possible and using as few crutches as you can in order to just do the best you can. You can always do better the next time. So in other words, if you find you're fasting for 3-4 hours and it's just overpowering, maybe try first of all having a coffee with some cream in it and see if that can get you a few more hours. And if that's all you can take, okay, that's enough for the first time. Next day, maybe you can do better. It's like a learned, I call it mastering fasting. You know, you're not going to do it all in one day. Don't sweat it if you break your fast early. But with practice, you'll learn how to do it. I've been doing it now 2.5 years. I eat once per day. So I do a daily 24-hour fast, or 23-hour. I spend about an hour eating, let's say. And all I do to get through the day, I mean, it's not a struggle to get through. I just have made a habit I have a coffee, 2 coffees with cream, and sometimes with heavy cream. And that gets me through the day. It gives me something to do. I could do without the coffee. I mean, I really, if I wanted to, but I like coffee. And it's a little treat, and it gets me through, and it keeps my insulin low. And more than anything now, I'm not really trying to lose weight anymore, but it's just habit. I just like eating once a day, and from time to time I think, well, maybe I should start eating more than once a day. And I've tried it, but it's just not. Anyway, I don't care for it anymore. So. So I don't know if you can get to this state where I'm at now, eating once a day. It kind of makes some things easier. But all I'm saying is don't sweat the details. If you need even to go beyond drinking a coffee, there are other people that recommend you can also have a bone broth that has fat in it. It doesn't necessarily break your fast. And what I wanted to say on this topic of breaking the fast, and I'll link to this. I think I can link later on when this video goes up. I consider Dr. Jason Fung the expert on fasting. His clinic, he treats people with fasting, has treated thousands and thousands of people. And his word on breaking the fast is that small things like cream in the coffee or even heavy cream or a little bone broth, yes, there may be trace amounts of carbs and trace amounts of calories, but that doesn't really, let's say, break the fast. And the reason it doesn't is because your body doesn't recognize that as eating. Okay, it's not, you're not chewing. There is a little bit of calorie involved, but remember what the goal is, what I said in the beginning. It's just to keep insulin low. And having cream in your coffee isn't enough to make insulin have to start to go into that fat storage mode to be dominant again. It takes more than that. It takes like chewing, and it takes calories, and it takes a food, delivering food, and then it'll automatically, you don't have to do anything. Your body will, insulin will start dominating again. But if you're just doing minor things like I said, the coffee and the cream, these are the big questions. And I'll admit, when I started, I wondered about cream, and I was concerned. I kind of obsessed with it for a while, and then I stopped being obsessed with it because it was working. Everything was working for me. All of the fasting I talk about that I did, and I did some extended fast. I did a long fast of 2 weeks. I did a fast of 11 days. I did a couple 4 or 5 day fasts. All of those fasts, I tried to be what I called as clean as possible, meaning using as few crutches um, as possible. And I just want to make sure is everybody still seeing me? Because it looks like I'm not sure the stream is still active or not. Hopefully it is. Where was I? I interrupted myself. Um, I wanted to stay clean as possible, meaning with as few, I didn't want to eat, I didn't want to have coffee, and I tried to just stick with black coffee, but I really don't like black coffee that much. I can get by with a little bit. I prefer it with cream, and and so I did it, and I lost a lot of weight, and so it didn't affect me. I stayed in a fasting state that kept my insulin low. So I guess I don't want to drone on too long on this subject. I guess you kind of get my point. What breaks a fast, certainly number one, is eating, and certainly sugar. Okay, if I wouldn't ingest anything with sugar, and and I don't recommend. I think some people can go with the non-caloric sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, to get you through. I personally don't recommend doing that, just because I think the whole goal here is to try to get off of to kick the sweetness habit, and I think that just prolongs it. Um, so anyway, don't be afraid to start fasting, and if you need a little cream in your coffee, don't sweat the details. You'll get better in time. Just don't eat, and you'll find results. Okay, so I think I'm repeating myself now. Um, I think now I'm just gonna go back into my chat box here and see if we got questions or if anybody's still here. Juliet, California, Utah, Wildman, tall happy colors. Um, hello from Florida, Mariposa, San Diego, Susan, Teresa from Illinois. Okay, fellow Illinoisan. Bottle collector, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. It's my nephew. Um, Barb, I appreciate the information. I'm glad you like my videos. Kombucha, I don't know so much about kombucha. Lena Pham Travels, I'm not an expert on that. What's all involved in that? Again, I would say if that gets you through, a little bit is not going to hurt you. You know, I don't think a nominal amount of anything like that, unless it's real carby or real sweet, it'll probably get you through. I have to admit, this is kind of a trending thing I hear about, and I don't know about kombucha. Paul Patterson, cooking my first steak in a sous vide right now. Well, you won't regret it, Paul. Man, it was a game changer for me when I got my sous vide. Stephen Eddy, fasting seems easier now that I'm full carnivore. Even 20 carbs a day, mostly dairy, seem to be driving extra hunger. Now I can easily go 48 hours after eating a steak and a pound of ground beef. Yeah, I'd have to say the same. Now that I went full carnivore, I mean, I did most of my weight loss with using plants and some fruit and salads and things like that. But then I migrated over to carnivore, and things just got easier, even for me. It's a breeze. In fact, sometimes if I'm busy or traveling and don't have good food choices available, I just don't eat. I'll just skip the whole day, and it's really not a big issue. I'll just eat the following day, and I think that's due to being a carnivore. Um, Sous vide my dog's food, gently reared, non-carnivore. Love sous vide. Gabe Praetor. Hello, Linda. How you doing? Message retract. Miriam Ramirez, thank you for sharing. I've been able to fast up to 18 hours. My average is 16. What should I eat after the fast for health benefits? Well, um, first of all, I think for a fast, if you're less than a day, if you're measuring your fast in terms of hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, I don't think you have to worry too much about what you eat when you come out of it. I mean, eat good. I mean, I recommend eating good food, good whole food. You know, I recommend my personal preferences. Depends on your status if you're trying to lose weight or whatnot. If you're just trying to be healthy, eat healthy whole foods and stay away from processed foods. If you're trying to lose weight, I personally recommend uh, going the low carb route. And I say that I know you can lose weight. You don't have to lose weight. I recommend it because for me it was fast and effective, and I needed to, and I like that. Uh, combining the low carb and the intermittent fasting, I call them the two levers, the two effective levers. That was like it was like I went into overdrive when I did that, and so I mean you can take it slower. You don't have to go low carb. You can do different things, but I would just say maybe it will slow down your results. Also, the other thing I have to say with low carb, in the long run, uh, I believe it's a healthier option. Even in carnivore or low carb world, I believe they're healthier options long term. Uh, if I get on my soapbox a little bit here, um, all of our modern chronic diseases, you know, heart disease and cancer and diabetes and autoimmune diseases, you can go on down the line and look at them. All of the diseases that are increasing at an exponential rate and seem to have involved this syndrome called hyperinsulinemia, which is like insulin is too active. It's been active too long, it's too high, and it doesn't go down anymore. And this is different for different people, and it takes a while maybe for that to kick in. It could take years or decades even, but eventually it catches up to you. And so I think the low carb lifestyle is generally something I recommend for anybody for a good long-term success, not only for weight loss. It's more than just weight loss. That's in a nutshell what I'm trying to say. Paul will be eating in an hour. Yeah, so will I. I know I'm making a big sacrifice doing this live video. I have not eaten today. Normally, I would be eating right about now, but I've delayed it because I didn't want to eat. After I eat, uh, I'm distracted with digesting, and it's my one meal a day, and I just feel too good, and I feel a little lethargic, and I just want to relax and rest and digest, is what I call it. Uh, Fatty things like cream, no spike to insulin, no storage, still burning fat. Yeah, I agree with you, Gay Priator. Uh, on the fatty stuff, I really don't think you have to worry about it. Stephen Eddy, a lot of the obsessiveness about breaking a fast seems to be built on the misconception that tiny amounts of calories will halt autophagy. I agree with you. And I've had people come in and chime in the comments to me and advise to me, it's not a real fast if you have cream. It's not this, you've broken your fast because of the calorie, it has so many calories. I don't buy that. Okay, I don't know what science backs that up or whatever. I can just say I've lived it, and boy, it didn't break my fast. It didn't. I was still burning a lot of fat. I was losing weight left and right. Um, so no, I think it's a matter of degree, and that's what Dr. Fung says. Um, Obviously, the better, the cleaner, as few crutches. Like I said before, if you don't need the crutches, don't use them because it's probably more effective. But this little stuff, this fatty stuff, don't overdo it. I'm not a big fan, and I should say this also. I'm not a big fan of drinking your calories in general. In fact, I've moved totally away from that. I was never like a bulletproof coffee person, to load up the coffee with fat and butter and drinking oils and this and that. I'm not a fan of that because I believe that what you drink, you can drink far too much of it. There's no satiety signal from that drinking. This is what I feel. And that same goes for sugar, especially for sugar. Sugar is just so, drinking sugar is, I think, is where a lot of us got into big trouble. Drinking the Coca-Cola like I did for years. There's just no way to control it. You're just taking such a huge load of sugar. There's just no way for your body to keep up with that for years and years and store all that and not get overweight. I mean, it's just too much. So I become a fan of staying clean with what the beverages. My big beverages is coffee with a little bit of cream and mineral water. Those are my beverages, and I really drink very little other than that. And it seems to be working. Yeah, I survived. Hey, thanks, thanks, Robin. I like this sharing. And the whole reason I started this channel is because, hey, something really changed in me, and I just have to share this because, man, I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Uh, so you can still see me. Okay, good. Thank you, Tall Happy Colors. You like the background? This is not my normal background. This is my live chat background, but this might become my new studio for videos. Thank you for the comment, for that observation, as always. Uh, Results of orthodoxy. Correct, Stephen. 32 people here. Oh, no, I see 41. Okay, I got a couple screens going. That's fantastic results. My fear was I'd come out and I'd be alone. It'd be like me talking to two other people, two other relatives, but I'm glad a few people came in. Uh, John Boston, do I exercise much? Actually, I think I do. It's rare now for me to take off one day a week. I take off about one day a week, so I'm exercising 6 days, which I think is a pretty good amount. Um, and I'm I'm doing mainly cardio. I'm doing rowing though. I'm doing stairs. I do different forms of running. I'm trying to just stay in shape in the indoors now until the weather becomes better where I can run outside. I like running outside. I also augment my exercise. I do some like calisthenics and body weight exercises, and I started a new thing quite recently. I have a morning regimen where I'm doing push-ups. I saw a lot of people were talking about a push-up challenge. I'm doing morning push-ups, trying to build the strength, and I'm going to build up and see how far I can go with my push-ups. But yeah, I do exercise, and I really enjoy being fit. That's part of the lifestyle that I enjoy now. And hey, oh, Mad Revolution is here. Thank you, Joe. How you doing? Uh, your channel was I was I found your channel and it was so valuable to me. I had been doing, I think I was like 6 months into 1 meal a day that I had been doing when I found your story and your channel. And I was really uncertain at that point if, if I was doing the right thing or if other people were doing this. I really didn't know. I felt kind of alone in the world. And I found your channel and it made me realize that I wasn't alone. I was doing something. You had already covered everything. You had done the journey and were successful and put up all the videos. And I was glad to find your channel. I appreciate that, Joe. You're kind of some of the other guys talk to you like the Godfather or the president of OMAD, and I appreciate everything you did with your channel. It was thank you, John. Hello from Boston. Hello. Yeah, Gabe. I don't know if I say that right, Gabe Priator. I'm doing the dark chocolate thing. I have 2 pieces, and I don't consider it even a sin. I like it, and I enjoy it. It's like six. My carbs are still they still are under. They're like 17 per day. So, and I enjoy those little pieces of chocolate. It gets me through. I don't care if it's a crutch or if it's not considered carnivore. I don't care. I like it. I'm doing it. As someone else said earlier, results over dogma. Um, uh, hey, we got somebody from Chicago, BDK and Tim from Chicago. Hello. Uh, Therese, seems like I was able to fast for more than a day before keto. Now, 1 year in, I decided to fast for even 24 hours. I can't even wrap my head around it. Hey, I should comment about that. I talk about doing long fast. In the beginning, I did some long fasting, 2 weeks, 11 days, 5 days. Since I've been on the carnivore, fasting does not even appeal to me at all anymore, doing a longer fast. I like my daily fat, 1 meal a day, or like I said, throw in a day here or there. Let's say if I'm traveling, I'm busy, and I don't have good food choices that I want to make. Rather than eating junk, I'd rather fast. But doing a longer fast, no, that's not appealing to me at all. I'm not sure how long I could fast. I mean, personally, I don't feel I need to. Doing the 23 hours every day, I feel I'm getting some autophagy and I have the benefits and I'm happy and everything feels good. So, uh, I mentioned that 2 week fast. I'm pretty positive I could not do a 2 week fast at this point, and no need to. Oh, hi, Uncle. This is my Kathy Johnson. This is another niece. How you doing, Bergen? Thanks for joining my first live chat. I hope it's going well. Um, your family, Linfam Travels, always brewed basic kombucha at home back in Asia, now in the States. Yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure what that is, but hey, if it works, I say go for it. If you like it, uh, yeah, do it. Stephen Addy, on 10-hour flights to and from London, I never eat. The flight attendants always ask several times, "Are you sure you don't want a big meal and a bag of pretzels?" No, thanks. Oh, I couldn't agree more. There's nothing I'm going to touch on a flight. Uh, and I can certainly get through a flight, even a long flight, even if I have to go to Europe or whatever. Fasting for 10, 12 hours, no. I take care of it ahead of time. I will have a coffee on the flight, even though their coffee normally kind of sucks on the airplanes. Uh, Flying is a breeze now. I have a coffee. I can have a mineral water maybe, but I'd rather eat on the other end or eat beforehand. There's no way I'm going to eat on a flight. And yeah, save your peanuts, your goldfish, your all those little things that they're passing around. Not interested at all. Um, just say eat later. For me, 24-hour easy peasy. Sometimes 36 or 48 later works great. Yeah, I agree with you, Gabe Priator, on that. That's a good attitude. Uh, Miriam, what physical activities help your weight loss, if any? Well, when I was on my weight loss journey, Uh, I didn't do, I think I mentioned this before many times. I didn't do any physical activities into like exercise at all up until around the 6 month mark. No exercise. So it wasn't instrumental in getting started. But after a while, I was feeling good and I was feeling, you know, I lost, after about 6 months, I was down 100 pounds and I wanted to start, I wanted to get out. The weather changed and I wanted to get outdoors and I wanted to start moving and to rebuild my health because that I definitely needed to do that. Um, and I started first walking. I couldn't do much more than walking, and then I started running. I've always been inclined to be in kind of an endurance mode, walking and running. About 25 years ago, I did some quite a bit of running for several years, and so I wanted to get where I could run again, and I did, and I started running, and then I started integrating my one meal a day with the running, and I started noticing, like when I haven't eaten for 23 hours and I'm running, it's a whole different world. And then I noticed I started reading about fat burning, and I started to wonder, well, if I run long enough, I'm going to run through all my stored energy, and then what happens? And I started to explore that limit, and I started doing long fasted runs where I would be fasting for or be running for 1 hour and then 2 hours, and then I think at most I even went into I go into the third hour, approaching 3 hours running, uh, fasted and with no fuel, no bars, no water even. I did this not last year, but I did this the year before last. I kind of explored the outer limits of how far I could run uh, fasted, and I'm kind of done with that now too. Now I run. I don't like to. I like to run, and all my exercise I like to do fasted. I don't like to have anything in my stomach, and I don't like to be doing any digesting while I'm exercising. It just seems like it. It just I much prefer fasted exercise and then eat after I exercise. But so physical activities. I mean, I say for weight loss, keep it to a minimal. A, if you're comfortable with your fasting routine and your eating routine and you've got that down pat, I say do that first before you really start going into the heavy exercise stuff. Because where I always used to fail is when I would lead with the exercise and try to also learn how to eat again. I do everything all at once. I couldn't do it. I always got out of sync and I got hungry and I got miserable and frustrated. So I think why I was successful this time is that I learned how to eat again and I learned how to fast and I got that down pat and I got a rhythm on that and then followed with the exercise. That worked for me and that's what I would recommend. Um, Hey, Bert, checking in from Maine. I'm glad. I love this of people checking in from all around the country, or even we got people around the world, I guess. OMAD Trucker Randy, hey, how you doing? I watch you every day, Randy, with your updates. And this is a guy, OMAD Trucker Randy. He's uh, he's down. Pretty sure he's down like a 105 pounds total, and he does a OMAD. So good job. And and I'm rooting for you to get all the way through and have total success. So keep it up, man. Slightly vegan. What's your estimate of your weekly exercise calorie burn? I'm not, I tracked. Believe it or not, I've been tracking all that, but I don't really focus on it. I don't know what I'm burning. I mean, the thing is, you mean in excess? I mean, even if I wasn't exercising, I would be burning calories. And so I tend to most days when I look on my tracker, I track in chronometer now more. I didn't it's funny, when I lost all my weight, I didn't track anything. I didn't track calories. I didn't track my food. I didn't track nothing. And I lost all the weight. And now that I'm in maintenance mode, I'm just curious. Now I'm using this chronometer. I'm looking at calories. I'm just curious and I'm tracking it. I don't know. I would say it looks like my calories, my exercises are coming in up in a range of 500 to 800 calories per session. I kind of go for about an hour, if that answers your question. Uh, Started watching channels about OMAD and about ready to start. What shopping list do you recommend? I'm leaning more towards meat and some greens. Should I add something else? I that would be great. I I would say just stick with whole foods. When I mean whole foods, meat and greens, or if you want vegetables, fine. If you can tolerate it, good, go for it. Um, I'd say that's a good place to start. Just stay away from the stuff in the packages with a label with a list of long ingredients. Stay away also from processed foods like with seed oil, the stuff that's made with. When I say seed oils, I mean like soybean oil and corn oil, and those oils are bad. Stick with your olive oils or maybe coconut oils, things like that. Stuff that's not in a package, preserved with the preservatives and with the manufactured with fat and carbohydrates that make you want to eat a lot of it. I mean, just stay away from that stuff. So meat, greens, go for it. But if you're going with the OMAD, let me just recommend when you do your meal, make sure you eat enough. Um, I know Joe at the Revolution, he had his one plate rule. I didn't necessarily go with one plate. I wanted to make sure that I was full when I was done eating because I I wanted to not be unsatisfied. I wanted to be satisfied after my meal, and that seemed to work. That get me through the next day. If I was satisfied, even sometimes I remember eating meals. I would eat a lot of vegetables, and at that time it was before I was carnivore. I ate a lot of vegetables and a big salad, and I had some fruit, and I had protein, and uh, boy, I come away from some of those meals quite full, and I think that was a good place to be. You don't want to come up short. Uh, that's my advice. Hilda, did you ever have emotional eating? If so, what did you comfort yourself in the place of food? I assume you mean during this phase of my weight loss journey. Uh, Not really emotional eating, I would say. No, I didn't. I can't describe any time where I really went into emotional eating. I've been eating, like I said, I've been eating. I really like the food I eat now, and like the fresh whole foods, real food, not manufactured food, not industrial food, not food that comes from a corporation with a list of ingredients. Um, so I haven't had to have an escape um, or an outlet. I'd say now, like I had that one crutch, I have this 20 grams of dark chocolate a day. I think that satisfies some emotional need to have like it just feels good to do it. And I know it's a little bit of a crutch maybe, but I like it. I have it. It's the last thing I eat each day. And it's kind of something to look forward to and gets me through the day, makes me feel good. So I do it. Um, Paula from Missouri. Hey, Jason Fung is boldly speaking out about the wonderful benefits of fasting. Yes, he is. And his book changed my life. I read his book and it was the switch. It was like I call it like a beacon. It pointed me in the right direction, and I'm not sure I would have got where I am today unless I had without reading his book. So I'm indebted to the guy. Bergen, it's going great. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Uh, and thanks for that, Bergen. Uh, Hello from Florida, Carrie. Thank you for stopping in. I'm seeing some new names here, so that's good. People I don't. And that was the whole point of doing this live Q&A. I interact a lot with people in the in my comments each week, but I realized not everybody's commenting. So I thought, well, maybe some people would be lurking and will want to ask a question live. So that's why I'm here. Uh, Debbie, hi, you look great. Thank you. I was fasting 23 hours a day, but found myself food obsessed. So now I'm eating at noon and 6. Do you think I will still see benefits, health benefit? Yeah, I do. I don't see a problem with noon and 6. Your window is your eating window is 6 hours, so that's like you're going 18 hours without eating. And if you're pretty clean on those 18 hours, yeah, you'll have health benefits. I think, like I said, I think the benefits start kicking in once you're past that 12-hour range. Um, I know what you mean by food obsessed. I don't have that problem. I'm not obsessed with it. The coffee gets me through it during the day. I'm not obsessed with food. It's not I don't think about it. I mean, I think about food, but I'm not obsessed with the eating of it. I'm not like just counting down the hours until my meal or whatever. I look forward to my meal. I mean, because I know I'm going to enjoy it, but it's like I'm not like drooling or salivating to get to it. And I don't know if everybody can realize that difference, but it's not like I'm white knuckling getting to my meal. It's like I'm just looking forward to that pleasurable experience that I'm going to have eating. So thank you for the comment. Hey, Bertie, hello. You're a person that I've interacted with a lot, and I appreciate it. You checking in. Stephen, we hear conflicting info about what triggers satiety. Even after my 110-pound loss, I can still eat through my satiety. What's your experience? Does fat or protein best achieve your satiety? Hey, I believe you can eat through your satiety. And I found myself, I've paid a lot of attention. My watchword this whole process has been listen to my body, and I've been listening to my body. And what that means to me during my meal is to slow down, because if I have too many distractions, if I'm chatting online, if I got the TV, I tend to multitask. And, if I do too many things at once while I'm eating, yeah, I can blow past the satiety signal. And so I have to learn to take a breather once in a while, to focus on where I'm at. The tracking has helped me with that too. I can kind of see by how much protein I've had, or how many calories I had. I kind of know the range when I should be feeling a satiety signal, but I'll tell you what, it varies a lot. Some days I blow through, I'm up to 3,000, 3,500 calories, and I still feel I didn't overeat. Other days, it's funny, it comes in light, and I'm fine with like, I think I've had days like 1,600 calories, and it's just, I've had enough. I don't feel like eating anymore, and I just let it go with that. I don't push it. I go with my instinct always. Still, no matter what the numbers tell me, I go with the instinct. So, um, fat or protein, um, I think I can overeat with either. Um, when I have fatty meats, I don't know. It's hard for me to answer that. When I eat, some nights I have like a lean, I'm eating all lean stuff and not the fat, and that seems to fill me up. And whereas if I eat fatty meats, the calories go up real fast, and I enjoy the fat, and I maybe want to eat more, but I kind of watch it when I eat fatty meats. So I guess I'm not answering this question very well, um, but I do agree. you can eat through it. I just find that slowing down and taking a break, once I get close, if I'm undecided, if I've reached satiety or not, I give it, let's say, all right, take a time out and just eat 2 or 3 minutes. Just give it a rest 2 or 3 minutes and then decide. I'd say 9 times out of 10, uh, I don't need anymore. But if I'm still hungry after 2 or 3 minutes, yeah, I'll cap it out, maybe have a couple eggs or a little something or other. But I don't sweat it either way. I don't beat myself up. OMAD Trucker, thank you. It means a lot. OMAD for life. Yeah, thank you, Randy. Gay Praetor, my eyes read Gay Predator. It's all happy color. I see that too. Uh, I read there's certain things I read always the wrong way, and I saw that Predator. Oh, you and I are on the same wavelength. Often I find out the carnivore visible filter. James Granger, hi from Florida. Really enjoying your vlogs. Thank you. And I saw you comment recently and reply to you, and I appreciate that. Californian, Lynn Fan, from California, now visiting Florida. Cool. I hope to visit some warmer climate. I'm really struggling. Since I've been carnivore, I don't like this cold weather anymore. And this has been a bad winter. This has been a bad start to the year. It's been really brutal, and I try not to dwell on it. But I don't know. I need to get out of here. I need the sunshine, and we have now. We're in approaching end of February, and it's lighter, but I'm just missing the sunshine. Hey, Wachabi, glad you checked in from Kentucky. Yeah, Bertie, I do still have the chocolate. Like I said, I keep it. It's dark chocolate. I don't have anything less than 85% cacao. I've had some 90. I even had 100% cacao. I have Lindt and what are the popular ones? Lindt. There's a I forget the typical name brands. I try some of the. I vary it. I mix it up. There's some organic styles. I try this and that, but I always try to maintain them very, very dark. And I still do it. I just like it. Hunter-gatherer mode. Yeah, Randy, you can eat lots of fruit and vegetables. Yeah, I'm a carnivore now, but I always make it a point to clarify that I didn't need to be carnivore to lose. I didn't lose the majority of my weight on a carnivore. I think you could do it on carnivore possibly, but fruit and vegetables, I did it originally that way because I thought that would fill me up without, I was in the mindset that these were healthy and they would fill me up without a lot of calories. And I think it works. There are maybe other reasons you want to get out of the fruit or vegetables if they and at someday you might want to try it, because when I eliminated the fruits and vegetables, I found benefits, not necessarily weight loss, but other benefits, and I've talked about that. Hey Felicia, thank you. And I'm glad it looks like people are enjoying the live, that this is going well, and it looks like I'm approaching an hour, so I didn't know it would go this far. I'm glad it did. Do I have an opinion on the snake diet? I've watched that channel a little bit. My opinion is I'm hard pressed to tolerate this guy's style. I don't really care for his style. It's kind of what I call the drill sergeant mentality. He's like oil and water. I don't really care people seem to have, in principle, I agree with the fasting part of it. And I forget what's all involved with the snake. I think he stresses also maybe having something called snake juice. I'm not really sure what that is or if I want to know what it is. If it means having some electrolyte solution in your fast, yeah. Um, I don't know. I can't really tolerate the channel. That's all I can agree with. That's all I can say about it. Jim Signs of company definitely engaged. Again, great chat. Thanks, Gabe Praetor. Hamid Mixing. Hi, I like your channel in spirit. I fast a lot. I'm a Muslim. I fast every day for health for more than 6 hours, Monday through Thursday, the holy day. Thank you. Hey, thank you for that comment. Oh, more than 16 hours. I was going to say 6 hours is not really a fast in my opinion, but you do 16 hours a day and for health benefits. Yeah, this is what Dr. Fung pointed out and made the light bulb go in my mind when I was thinking about going fasting. He said religions have been doing this for thousands of years and we somehow survive. We do it every night for 12 hours. We do it if the doctors want us to fast before surgery. So fasting is not some mysterious thing that we have to have a fear. We can do it, and our bodies can do it. Um, it's hard if you haven't done it for a long time because of the way we eat, and that just takes some acclimation. You can, believe me, with a little work, you can make it part of your lifestyle. And I do believe it makes for a healthier lifestyle to spend more time not eating, uh, and that's the whole point. Julia, do I supplement with electrolytes? Um, okay, when I fasted, when I was back in the days where I did long fasts, days and days without food, I didn't the first time, but I suffered through some real bad cramps in my calves. I mean, really bad. And I did a little research and realized that I needed to supplement. And so I started doing that. I started making a concoction. I started adding some different electrolytes to water, and I would drink it throughout the day, and it got me through the fasting. So now, on a day-to-day basis, right now, I don't supplement. I mean, I eat salt with almost everything. I add salt to my meat. I add salt to everything. And I use the Himalayan pink salt. I use the ancient sea salt. Um, and from time to time, I've used the salt substitute for potassium. Um, but I'm mixed on potassium. I mean, everything tells me I'm not getting enough, but I don't really have an issue with cramping, or I don't have the symptoms of low potassium, but potassium is something I'm still kind of investigating I'm wondering if I should have more of it or not, or augment with some kind of a supplement, but I have an open mind on it. Omid, no, raw chicken, no, I don't do that, Omid, Randy. Uh, I'm not a raw eater of any kind. I did dabble in it, I tried it. I saw a lot of people raving about it. I never tried raw chicken though. I did try some raw ground beef. I tried some raw steaks. I even tried a raw liver one time. It doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't. I don't know. The first when I eat anything raw, my first overwhelming response is disappointment at the taste. It's just so disappointing. And I know people will say it's the lack of salt. Even salt, I put a salt on it. It's just the temperature. I can take it almost raw in terms of the cooking. Almost very rare. I like though there to be an outer shell of crispiness of temperature of the sear. And if I have that, I can take it pretty much near rare on the inside. But I don't like raw. But chicken, no, I don't. I don't have raw chicken. I saw you talking about that, and I'm not going there. I do have chicken, but it's quite well done. Hey, Wally Hikes, good that you checked in. Hilder too. This is a good deed you're doing to help others. May even work up to having a. I might have a. I've thought about that. Oh, interviewing Dr. Fung. Yeah, he's way beyond. He would be a get for me to interview. Uh, I'm hoping I'm going to a conference in a few weeks. I'm going to a low carb conference in Denver, where he's going to be there and he's going to speak. And I just want to meet the man and have a moment with him, shake his hand. He's like a rock star to me, and I just want to express to him how his book changed my life. So I'd love to interview him if you'd be gracious enough to do it, but I'm sure his time is well spent in other places as well. Susan, I love your before and after pictures. Attending a work conference reminds me of IMTS. That's where it is, Susan. That was IMTS, that conference. Yeah, so if you go to IMTS, that's exactly where it was taken, those photos. The last two IMTS were where those conferences were, where those pictures were taken. Oh yeah, Gabe Prador. I saw that and I got through. I think I finished that. Dr. Mason is the one, and there was an interesting take. I hadn't heard this before. He was saying it's vitamin D is only part of the equation. He's talking about, what was it? Nitric oxide is the other thing. I have to go back and revisit that. But I always like Dr. Mason's video. He's one I never miss his videos. And I saw that anything to do with the sun, I'm there reading it. Tall, happy colors. I know you're a fellow sun worshiper struggling to get through this winter, and I feel for you. Although I have to say, I noticed on your recent videos, you are advanced by a minimum of 6 weeks from where we are. You've got some flowers blooming already, and some people I notice enjoying some blooming going on. I long for that, but we're at least six weeks behind that. So I'm enduring this, and I think I'm doing okay, but I don't know. I just miss the sun. Yeah, I love Florida. In fact, last Lynn Pham Travels, I will love Florida. I went to Miami last July 1st, July 4th, actually. I went down there and I spent several days on a beach. It was great. Um, Final year neurosurgery resident, Sam Smith. Love your channel. Well, thank you, Sam. Thank you for that. That's very interesting. He's kind of rudely loud. Rick? Who's loud? I'm not sure who you're talking about. Miss Joyce, Kansas. Hey, thanks for checking in, Miss Joyce Fox. You're a frequent commenter on my channel, and in keto maintenance. I'm glad you checked in. Sam, is obesity a disease? If so, is it mostly mental? It's mental. I don't know if, to be honest, I don't know if it's a disease. I mean, it's certainly learned bad behaviors and bad habits, and bad habits which are promoted, unfortunately, by the media and the food companies and doctors and our schooling and our government. I mean, it's promoted. So I'm divided on this question. I do think there's personal responsibility. I think I was obese for so many years and I knew I was doing the wrong things. I knew I should eat less and I knew I should get better care of myself, but I didn't have good discipline and I let it get out of hand. And but I'm not sure if it's a disease or not, but I tell you what, getting out of it is mental. A lot of this stuff, my whole journey, once I was on the right track, once I was into the fasting and to going to low carb and I knew it was working, it was still not easy. It was all a mental challenge because of self-doubt. And I was waiting for everything to fail. And relearning, I made a video about a month or so ago about retuning your mental radio station. It's like reprogramming your mind. You got to you got to learn all new habits, and I think it's largely mental. So I'm not sure if I answered the question, but mental is a big aspect. Um, hey, Joan from Tennessee, you haven't had much sun? Yeah, I know, it's been tough. What's the best way to explain to naysayers that fiber isn't necessary? You know, I don't know. I just say to people, and especially on any of this stuff about nutrition, you know what? You don't need a scientific study. You don't need papers or randomized controlled studies or doctors or a blessing from above. It's food. Just try it. Make it a test. You can judge for yourself. Do a fiber-free month. If you just get rid of all fiber and see what happens. That's basically what the carnivore challenge, or the carnivore test. This whole thing, carnivore, started for me. It was a 30-day trial. And I wasn't too concerned about the fiber. I always kind of thought that was a load of BS, to be honest with you, that we need fiber. And then I realized, once I got into it, I realized that's all nonsense. Um, and the benefits are largely just to people who eat poorly. So anyway, I would just say my advice to people, I can't prove it to you, just prove it to yourself. Try it. Get rid of it. Um, Trucker, do I know of Amber Reed Lynn Channel? She has no willpower on her diet. She's 550 and won't die. Oh, no, I haven't. I might have heard of that name. Uh, but yeah, I have sympathy for the people that are way out there, 3, 4, 500 pounds. My heart breaks because I know they're kind of, I can relate to where they're at. I never got to that point, but in the back of my mind, I was worried that one day I was going to be one of those people, bedridden, and stuck and doomed to die early. Uh, it's hard to help people like that. But what I find, the little bit I've watched people's channels or some of those shows like My 600-Pound Life or whatever, those people always seem to have an enabler or enablers that are helping them, that are not helping them to stay obese. And that, I think, if you have enablers around you and you're overweight, it's tough to get out of that. And my heart goes out to them. Yeah, I agree. I am looking, Gabe Prador, on the potassium. That is something I need to investigate more and do a little more testing on that. Nitrous oxide. Yeah, this winter. Wow. I got through the end of the year fine. And I knew this was going to be a tough winter because last year was my coming out party with the sun, and I just blossomed in the sun. I was out in the sun all the time, and I knew I was loving it so much I didn't want it to end. And I knew I was going to have this trouble with this winter. But lo and behold, I got through the January, and it wasn't too bad. But then, January, it's been bad here. It's been not good. Oh, snake eye guy. Oh yeah, no, too rude, too loud. I'm not. It doesn't. I don't care for that shouting. And there's a lot of YouTube channels that are, a lot of people waving their fists and shouting, and you got to do this, you got to do that. That's just, anybody that watches my channel knows that's not my style. I'm not a shouter or not much for the bells and whistles. I'm more laid back, and I get compliments on that, by the way. People say they like that I'm calm, and so I know my channel maybe feels a niche for a different perspective, an older audience, maybe not. But post-workout calorie intake, I still struggle with that. Maybe because I fear eating too much, but oftentimes I don't think I eat enough. I would say that too. If you're working out, I don't know, if you're talking about one meal a day, I mean, all my workouts are before I eat. And so my post meal, it's intense. I enjoy it, and I make sure that I fill up. Um, but if you're eating more than once a day, I don't know how you balance that. I don't know the right advice to eat and then work out and then eat again. This is where it's all so uncomplicated, this life I have, where I just eat once. It just streamlines everything, and especially being a carnivore. The shopping is easy, the meal planning is easy, the working out is easy. It's just, I'm like on autopilot. So I don't know. I like my lifestyle. It's just easy. And I don't have to think too much. I got a lot of things I'm thinking about all the time, and I enjoy not having to overthink things. Um, yeah, John, the commercials for drugs and food all day long. Yeah, I unplugged from the TV, from the commercial TV, and when I do watch it, I'm horrified by it. It's one drug after another, one bad food choice after another. It's just so sad, but we're surrounded by it, and I'm doing my part to kind of speak up about it. It is horrible. I agree. Um, yeah, it's hormone. Yeah, it's hormone driven, but um, I agree with you. I still don't know if that's a disease. Is this just your body? I always say my body made me really fat to protect me from my bad diet. And I was very good at, my body is very good at fat storage. And it needed to be. If it wasn't good at fat storage, I could have some serious health issues right now. Um, did I drink a lot of water when I gave up Coca-Cola? Uh, I kind of all did this about the same time. I went on that long fast. I cut down. I first weaned off the Coke and started in on those flavored sodas, LaCroix, whatever it's called, other flavored waters, and I didn't really care for the flavor. Then I went on a long fast, and after that, I just never. Then I went on to like a little. I was on the flavored water for a while, but then I really became to not like that taste at all. I didn't want any flavors in my water, and then I didn't want anything sweet. So I didn't drink a lot of, from time to time, I drink a lot of water, but I prefer the sparkling water, the mineral waters. My always, I give a plug for my Gerl Steiner, comes from Germany. I love this water. I drink it all the time. And sometimes, especially in the summer, I drink a lot of it. I might drink like 3 bottles of that a day. But uh, tell Happy Co. Those were the days. Used to pass through Florida frequently many years back and then go across to a tiny Hemingway wild dolphin island, very small, escaping European winter. Yes, I remember you talked about your prior life in the Caribbean. Uh, Man, it seems idyllic to think about living somewhere like that now. I don't know if I could live there, but I certainly would visit. I would visit any of that stuff. It sounds wonderful. Being around the sea. I love being on the beach, around the sea. Just the warmth. It feels real pleasant. And all of this changed after I became carnivore. I was a person before 2018. I stayed indoors. I stayed out of the sun. Uh, I was under the impression that I needed to stay out of the sun, that I would burn too easy, and I did. And I think maybe it wasn't healthy, but with my diet change and with being a carnivore, suddenly started hearing people talking about being in the sun, and I started experimenting with it. I said, you know what? I love the sun, and then I became like, wow, this is fantastic. I love just being out, absorbing the rays, and so it opened up a lot last year, 2018. I became a sun worshiper. Um, and disease of the body, yes, disease, in my opinion. Defense of all pat, we have been given wrong information for years. Yeah, I don't totally blame the people. for being fat. There's so much bad information, and it comes from everywhere. You think you're doing the right thing, and you see other people that you don't seem like you're doing anything too much different than the other people, but yet you're fat. And why is that? Uh, Although I do have to admit, I used to tell myself that, but to be perfectly honest, I think I was also hiding some things and avoiding certain things and not being totally truthful with myself. I was doing some things privately that were quite out of the ordinary, like, that I wouldn't admit to anybody, even to myself, like having, going through fast food, having a half gallon of ice cream. I did a lot of sinful things that I knew were wrong and I didn't admit. And once I can look back on it now and see where I was, not helping out myself, but it's a little of both. I do agree. Oh, thank you, Susan. Subi calling. Okay, bye bye. And maybe, yeah, I went overkill. I didn't imagine going an hour, and I see it's over an hour. Uh, but I just thought I'd talk through the questions, and this would just unwind of its own accord. Uh, Stephen, people who lose a life-changing amount of weight often have imposter syndrome, in which they don't recognize the new person in the mirror and often regain weight to get back into their comfort zone. Stephen, I had, I had, I experienced something once I was done with the weight loss and reached a new, a new, I reached my goal. And mentally, though I wasn't there yet, in my mind, I was still that big person. And, and I felt like I was out of phase. And I was a little awkward for a while. And I did have this imposter thing a little bit. And frankly, was still very nervous about having a relapse and gaining the weight back. I was so sensitive to that because this time more than ever, I was wanted to make sure I didn't let that happen. So I didn't let up on myself. I just remained, really conscious of everything. And I didn't want to be one of these stories, especially after I went public. I shared this with people. I shared it on the OMAD Revolution. I shared my story along the way. I started this channel and shared the whole story. So I didn't want to be one of these people that suddenly shares a story and then you wonder, you don't see any conversation anymore, or any videos or any updates, and you wonder what happened to that person. Then you find out later, oh, they regained 100 pounds. I didn't want to be one of those stories. But this syndrome, this imposter syndrome, it it took me a while to realize a new identity, because it's a little strange. When you're heavy so long, you're used to people looking at you a certain way, and you know what they're thinking. Now people look at me, it's completely different. And I know they're looking at me another way, like even people that don't know me. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. I don't know if I'm still live or not. Um, I seem to get kicked out in my first technical difficulty here. Um, so I don't know if anybody is still there. Ah, you are here. Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe I exceeded my time limit or whatever, but yeah, for some reason it stopped transmitting. Uh, Houston. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I forgot where I was. I was on some long rant, and then I realized, oh my God. Um, so let me just see if I can catch up with everybody and say hello before it blinks up again. Hello from Los Angeles, Anna George. Thank you. Um, thank you for showing up. Randy H. Omed Trucker Randy H. Apple cider vinegar. During my weight loss journey, I was using that. A lot of people were talking about it and how it would had a lot of good benefits, and I did that. I took it kind of quite often. Then I stopped, and I didn't notice any difference. So I don't know. I don't know. It didn't hurt me, but I kind of slowly got off of all of the things like anything to do with plants. It's just something I did for a while, but it was fine. Um, Slightly vegan. Here's a good question. Do you think you'll ever go too mad? I don't know. From time to time, I think maybe I should be too mad. That might be a better solution for me, and I could do it. There's no reason why I couldn't do it. And I've thought a lot about trying it, and I did try it. Maybe it's been some time ago, but when I tried it, it was too complicated. Because the only two man the I what I would do, I wouldn't eat breakfast. I'm out of breakfast for forever. I mean, really. I might eat like a lunch and a dinner, so do like a 12 and 6 type of meal. Um, I'm sorry. Uh, Definitely got problems. I know there's only a few people still still hanging in there. I'm embarrassed. And obviously, I don't know what I'm doing here with some of this, but we'll uh, we'll wrap it up now. I had a great time, and we'll do it again sometime. I appreciate all of the questions and enthusiastic responses from people. Uh, it is time for me to eat. Yeah. It's funny on YouTube. It tells me that I'm not broadcast. It tells me that I'm not live. But anyway, again, sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll do it better next time. Uh, and when Houston kicks in. Thanks. I had a great time, everybody. Have a good night, and see you on the next time. Bye now.